Well, turning to international news now, just a day since the inauguration, and large crowds of women, many wearing bright pink knit hats, have poured into downtown Washington for a march in opposition to President Trump. The event was expected to be the largest of a series of marches across the world in cities including Sydney, London, Tokyo and New York. The women gave a host of reasons for marching, ranging from inspiring other women to run for office to protesting Trump's plans to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which requires health insurers to cover birth control. Trump has angered many liberal Americans with comments seen as demeaning to women, immigrants and Muslims. Well, in London, demonstrators have gathered in front of the U.S. Embassy in protest against President Donald Trump. Our correspondent Richard Bestek told us what they took issue with.
It's a wide variety of issues linked largely to most of the issues that women around the world find important. This is gender-related issues, racial equality, the rights of women. All of these, the demonstrators say that they feel threatened by the Trump presidency, and they're laying down a marker that they are here, they are an alternative voice, that he did only get a minority vote, and certainly in most parts of the world, he didn't get a vote at all. What you're seeing here in Europe is a rolling series of protests that have started in New Zealand and Australia, went through Asia, and now will be across a pan-European protest across Germany, across Belgium, and here in London too.
Well, let's bring you the latest now on these protests. I'm joined by our correspondent, Kevin McAleese, who's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Kevin, just tell us more about the momentum behind these anti-Trump protests and what the turnout has been like in Washington.
Yes, well, we're about 2 hours into this rally and protest movement, the Women's March on Washington, and we've been hearing several people take to a stage to address the hundreds of thousands who have turned out, and some projections put that as high as 500,000. We just heard from the local metro here saying that already there was a 50% increase on ridership compared to yesterday, when of course Donald Trump's inauguration took place at the same venue along the National Mall. But a lot of people dropping in the new president's name as they call on Americans to protect certain issues that have been divisive during his campaign to the White House, such as immigration rights, such as women's rights, such as welfare rights, justice reform, the list goes on. So this isn't just one theme here. There are several social issues that have branched out of what began as a challenge to many aspects and possible policies from this Trump administration. Once they've heard those speeches, once some musical performances have taken place, those hundreds of thousands of protesters will then march to the south side of the White House later on this afternoon.
And Kevin, as you say, hundreds of thousands are marching there in Washington, but of course similar protests taking place in cities around the world. At this point, has there been any reaction at all from the White House?
Well, President Trump has been attending an interfaith inaugural prayer service at the National Cathedral. This is, tradition for a new president. He was there with the First Lady and his vice president. So he has probably not been on Twitter, even for someone as keen on using that vehicle of communication as Trump is. Perhaps that would have been inappropriate. But his team will have been watching events today. They will want to know on the numbers. They will be, no doubt, at some point expressing a take on this huge protest movement. But Donald Trump has other things on the agenda today, as far as we can tell. He will be visiting the CIA headquarters later today. Of course, he's had an uneasy relationship with US intelligence agencies up to this point, so it'll be interesting to hear what remarks he gives from the CIA headquarters later on today.
Kevin McAleese, thank you so much for joining us there from Washington.